Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 299 of my modded Factorio playthrough. In this episode, we are going to finish up handling all of the byproducts from our science setup. Enjoy! Kind of want to paste this back. Except we want this to be mineralized water. And I don't know if any drones are coming by for this. Let's see here if this will show us ongoing things. So we definitely have it available. Fluid depots. Well, there's one down here. And there is a request depot. So I guess that does tell us what we need to see. So we do have one. But that's only sending it to making these gardens here. And also one thing is that one of the recipes for the gardens was changed in the update from forever ago, and I just didn't notice. But I think that was to generate gardens from nothing. And since the whole thing works now, there's kind of no point in messing with it. So... but that's really the only place it would go. So I think we're going to need to find somewhere else to put it. And there we go. Filling up on the oil residuals. So everything is definitely starting to clog up here. But that has been emptied, so this is all working again. And we do need to set this station up, but we also need to send it somewhere. And luckily... it's going to take a long time for that station to fill up. So for now, we probably can ignore it for a bit. Okay, we need to make a request. It's like 9 mineralized water, so well, that sounds like a 5 drone job. We can see how that works. They have a long way to go though, so maybe we should make it 10. We got to find the closest place that mineralized water is out here. And actually it looks like it's here. This is a supply depot. So, do we even need to do special logic with this or not? It looks like it, because these garden generators still use that mineralized water, and then they generate these plant life samples, so we probably still do need to have it. Well, we can do a request depot here. Just set it to mineralized water and put the 10 in, but it's going to be doing a loop. And there's nowhere to put these pipes. Okay, well, to do this, we need to do a signal transmitter and receiver. Receiver is easy. The transmitter requires those annoying batteries. Guess we could also put it on this wire, but we probably don't want to keep putting things on signal wires like that if we don't have to. Guess just grab some and the thing will fill up automatically. But we need to make a transmitter. And actually, now that I think about it, we probably want to make another receiver as well. Because we need to handle the oil residuals. And we need to do the same thing because oil residuals have 2 potential destinations. One of them being a repository and one of them being somewhere they're consumed. So because there's 2 destinations, we're going to need to have some logic there so the drones aren't going back and forth. Luckily though, research is still kind of eking forward a little bit. It is moving, but definitely this has exposed some issues. So I'm kind of glad we are checking all this out. Hello, robots. Some very green water. Are you saying our science research is not environmentally friendly? I don't know why you'd say that. This isn't an oil processing setup right here. No, no. Okay, well, I guess we would want it to be sending the signal of the warehouse up here. So, we would need the transmitter with all of its power glory, but that's actually alright because we can make nuclear now if we need to. And it has to go to the reader right there. So now that signal is on network here. And we kind of need to do the same over here with our oil residuals. So can't reach. Well, that reaches. And I'll just go over there so it both connects. So now we have our oil residuals and our mineralized water. Although I do think we did set that system up in a little different of a way. We didn't just send the actual signal across. We had the logic next to the machines to say when the signal should go across, and then whenever the signal was received was when the logic would flip. Looks like this is slowed down again because of the laser arrays, and there is no nitrogen again. Why is that? It's overloaded on oxygen. Well, then I guess we will hook this up again. And actually have a pump attached to it. We really ought to have a much larger tank than this, because now we have these ones. So if this is above, now that the numbers are bigger, we can say like 60,000. Then it can send it on its way. And oxygen is definitely not something I want to throw away, because as you seen before, that we can run out of oxygen in the factory, so that's definitely not something that we want to overload on. But nitrogen is going yet again. Lots of little problems to fix. It's funny now that the blue science is this thing that's fallen behind, and all of the pink and purple science is caught up. But I think we had some logic on these other setups. So let's put one in here. Going to the input. And we can say if mineralized water is above a certain point, I don't know, like 2000, it will send a signal mineralized water as an output. And then that is the signal that gets sent there. So now we just have one of those. And we can kind of do the same thing right here. With this other one. And we can check to see what its enabled condition is above 600. So how about we just do, it has to be above 1,000, and then it'll output one of those. So now we should have just ones. I don't know if it would be better to show the actual amount. Probably not, because what if there's two different depots that use that logic? Then if they're just the number, then that wouldn't make any sense. So by using a 1, we can say that there is one depot that has been activated in this way, or 2 or 3 or however many it is. And every time I do this, I get a little confused about exactly what the setting should be, and you can see how it's just going back and forth. So that's what we're trying to avoid. So I kind of just want to copy it from somewhere. So interesting, it's set to equal to 1, but if there's more than 1, then this won't work. So how about we do equal to or greater than 1? And you will do the mineralized water. And basically you want one of these to work if it gets green square, and one of them to work if it doesn't have a green square. So we'll get rid of the writer here. Then make another one. So basically we want this supplier to work if there aren't any other depots. So we'll say the enabled condition. We really don't even, I think, have to go through this at all, but it might make it slightly easier to understand if it does. That this cannot have a green square. So the green square must be 0. If it is, this can run. And with this one, it requires any number of green squares that are above 1. And it's getting nothing right now. So when we put our receiver down here, and oh my goodness, it's so big. I guess it has to come out here. Well, luckily we don't drive very often anymore, so we probably don't have to worry about running into poles. But at the same time, I'd rather not deal with that if I don't have to, because every once in a while I do drive the crawler places. So let's do this. And we do want to go through a combinator though, just to clear out the signals, because otherwise it's going to give us all of the signals. And it's interesting how we're doing fluorite with that. But let's try to be a little consistent about this. So we only want the mineralized water as an output, so we're not dealing with anything else. There we go, just to keep it cleaner for this. So there we go. I clicked that on here. This one is working, and this one is disabled by control behavior. So if this signal switches, and we can actually test it by taking this off. Well, I guess I probably shouldn't because drones are on the way, but if I took this off, then they would switch. But it probably should double check and make sure that works anyway, even the drones will be mad. I can't really see because it's covered. But if we do that, now this one is working, and this one is disabled by control behavior, so. That is working. Well, it kind of did that for a second, but it's interesting. Are the drones still on the way? Yeah, even after unplugging it. I guess they continue their path even if you unplug it like that? Interesting. And there's 7 of them, so that makes me think that our number is decent because they're not just maxed out all 10. Okay. So what happened to oxygen? Oh, we didn't hook that back up, so the number is weird. Let's hook it up. And although we should probably, before we go back, there's so many little things we have to take care of. Let's do another train station here. Is this the correct direction? It looks like it. So we'll just line it up here. How many spaces? Looks like 4 track widths. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it goes right here. Does that look right? The spacing looks very strange, but I think it's just because this one was done on the right and these ones are done on the left. Would probably be slightly better to put them on the other side, but at the same time, I don't care that much. As long as all the other ones are on the left side, then it won't matter. And we don't want this to be an LTN stop. We just want a regular one. So we'll drop that in there. I think I got that configured pretty well. Once everything gets here, that is. Alright, let's go back up here now. Let's just get this configured so we can read it properly. The number isn't going to be quite right. We need to divide the number by 750 now to get the percent. There we go. Looking good. Is this pump set to a good number? Yeah, about 60,000. It's not pumping it out because it's full. Is that because just the oxygen drones aren't moving? Yeah. Because we're pumping a lot more of this, we might have a lot more drones. But it's also just oxygen, so if we don't have enough drones, then so be it, I guess. It's not that big a deal. I just want to try to save it if we can, but no big deal if we can't. Oh, wow. Nickel ore is at 74,000, and zinc is at 50, so we're actually overloaded on tin and copper right now. Kind of want to take a look at that. That's interesting. I guess it just makes sense that those copper overloads have just completely stopped it up, in other words. And I think that's Science Cost Tweaker doing that. So hopefully now that I change that, it won't do this anymore. I guess we'll call it fuel oil unload. It probably would be better in the long run if all of this was set on LTN. It would be a little more dynamic, and it would just use this one liquid train up there, so we can use a single train for all these depots. But it's 2 different ways of doing the same thing. The advantage, though, is that when LTN runs, it actually tells you and has an alert, where on these ones it does not. But I'd have to do a bunch of logic and stuff, and I'd rather not. If we don't have to. It's like, why do more work than is required for what your task is? Alright, let's grab some trains. There's probably a bunch of extra trains sitting in here from just all of the upgrading. To an extent. It's actually not that bad. We just need a single train there. One of those. And 4 wagons. We do need to deliver the fuel. And it looks like fuel is not being delivered on this side, so we would have to put it on the other side. So why isn't it running yet again? No sulfur light sources from no sulfur dioxide gas. And that has no sulfur. Oh, because I did not hook the sulfur back up. Oops. Lots of little things getting fixed here. Even if they're things of my own creation. But anyway, here it goes yet again. So how are we doing here? Missing materials for construction. Did we finally go through all of those lights? Yeah, we did. I guess we're going to have to start making them at some point. It's kind of annoying that they're a little all over the place here. But we'll get them placed with our own bots for now. Okay. We have a new train. Ugh. And some fuel. It'll get fully loaded with rocket fuel later. And that thing has 5 slots in it for fuel. Man. How will it ever run out of fuel? Anyway. There's our wagons. Let's give this thing a name. Fuel oil load. Good enough, I suppose. It's not an LTN stop. So we want fuel oil load. Full. And fuel oil unload. Empty. And then if we're overloaded on fuel oil, then we can figure out what to do from here. But I don't think it's going to be much of a problem. And those pumps are facing the wrong way. Let's take it to the other station. See how it works. It is very fast. Maximum speed, almost 500 kilometers an hour. Seems realistic for a train. It also gives you an idea of how big the factory is becoming. Alright. Well, it's stopping here. Must be because the signals aren't quite right. There we go. But that thing is going to immediately unload and leave, so I kind of don't want it to. So we'll do manual mode. Well, let's do something like this, I suppose. And let's see now if it goes on its way. Okay. Probably would be better for it to get its fuel where it's parked, because it potentially could run out. I'm not sure how much fuel it uses to get up there. So knowing that, I'm going to put a stack inserter in there just to run it a little faster. Well, last step of this is to get the fuel where it needs to go, and we're running out of spaces here. I guess we use the one on the end and hope the pipes can jump over all of this? Probably. So it would be this one. Let's see, if those are running, does that mean we are loaded up on plastic again and now we're just burning it for fuel? That would be kind of convenient. Let's see where to pop it in. So there we go. And we do want to have a pump, and it would be good for the pump to go right here, so it's funny. One of those is missing a signal. So there we go. Now it's filling up. Using up that residual oil there. So hopefully that's some of the byproducts taken care of here. So how is this doing? Well, it's definitely filling up on oil, but now it's getting rid of it properly, and it seems like we're almost completely overloaded with residuals now. So that's a problem. And basically limited on the blue science, and that basically makes sense with our input. And we certainly could upgrade this science setup with better modules, but I'm not too concerned with that right now, because once we have our maximum tier of machines and modules, that would be a much better time to be upgrading stuff like that, because otherwise we just have to do it again. But yeah, those things are running because plastic is finally filled up again. So now we're just turning that mineralized water into free fuel. And I guess power is doing alright. Oh, of course. It's doing great. Alright. Almost done here. I think now we just need to get rid of these residuals. And we kind of need to do the same thing we did before. Although, weren't we also overloaded on the oxygen? Yeah, it still is. So I need to put more drones in there. But for now, we can take care of these residuals here. Hey, it's an ammo truck. Those are probably pretty rare these days, because we don't really go through that much ammo. But I was gonna like, hey, let's check to see how the wall's doing. Nothing has changed. It is exactly as you would expect. And that is gathering turrets not gathering. But anyway, we need to do the request depot here. And actually should probably put it on this side. And the receiver has to go somewhere. And we'll use the same idea as before. Hey, made a request for some white circuits. And that glass request makes sense because they only stack in units of 100, so it is using the whole train. It's just you can't fit as many on the train. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing here, except this is now oil residuals, and it's equal to or greater than 1. So those are all the signals. The oil residual signal is there, which means that if there is a better option out there, this would turn on, which would mean that this one needs to turn off. So this is enabled only if green is 0, and it's not enabled. And this one can be enabled if green is equal to or greater than 1. So that one is on, that one is off. So let's make our request. We probably need a whole bunch of these, although I don't think we're actually making that many residuals at a time. It's just we have an overload of them, but let's just put 10 in there. Whoa. Oh, I was thinking, oh, Science 1 isn't overloaded anymore, but no, it still is, just something else overlapped it. Still got 9,000 left. Otherwise, though, it looks like the research is really picking up now, because we finally got to that slag processing, which is what we needed to work on next. So I think we're mostly taking care of the tricky parts. It might be going fast just because it's not subject to the resources we're maxed out on. Come on. And there they finally go. So this has been going on a very long time, which is why it got maxed out like this. Yeah, but 10 drones should be more than enough. I notice we're not overloaded on copper now. So it's trying to flow again. At least until it plugs up. But that won't be a problem for much longer here, because we're just about done with this research, and because research kind of takes so long now, we probably want to just have it kind of stay queued up and full, or at least until we've gotten rid of a lot of this extra stuff. I mean, a lot of this is kind of gimmies, like getting faster research speed for our labs. And getting an extra stack on transport drones. Sounds good. Making them 20% faster seems good. There's also, finally, more character upgrades which require an enormous amount of resources, so we probably want to save those for last. But there's so much good stuff. We can do a stack inserter bonus for non-stack inserters. And get +2 for stacks. Also seems good. And it looks like there's an extra research beyond that for stack inserters to get another +2. So there we go. Now we've got a lot of stuff queued up. And maxed out on orbs. It looked like some of them made it on the belts again. So many orbs. But these are all useful to us now for research, so we kind of don't want to give them up. Here, let me help. That spawner biter right there. It's pretty clear down here, though. It's kind of interesting how the biters pick different parts of the wall to abuse at different times. And it's nighttime, and all of our steam engines are having no trouble keeping the accumulators charged. Okay, all that got filled up. Hey, made a delivery of some tungsten. But operating as we would expect. Let's grab those out of there before I forget, because I kind of almost did. Okay, now we need to work on our new setup here. And since we have access to new machines, we might as well make them. Also, we should probably check on science one more time here, just to make sure it's going. Yeah? Let's see, we are desperately trying to make naphtha. Looks like it's running at full speed. It's just not quite enough. But it's almost got this thing maxed out, so it's pretty close. Close enough, I think we can call it and say that it's good. So I think we finally cleared up the issues here. And that's filling up on that fuel oil. Drones are taking care of these massive overloads. We are kind of getting filled up on this mineralized oil, though. Even though we've got 10 of them doing it, but if I remember when we go back down there, we can put 20 in and see how that'll work. 20 seems like a good, okay, that's a lot of drones number. And if it's any more than that, then, whoops, maybe reconsider finding a different way to move it. I will eventually expand the robot network right there and get all that covered, but kind of want to just work on moving things forward for now. But that's going to have to wait until the next episode. Thanks for watching, and I will see you later.